All right, what's up, everybody? So, this is a special webinar to really break down a workflow. How is Sosi delivering price with advice? He is a broker. Most of the interviews I do are with IMB bankers. I've been showing the integration with Encompass a lot lately because it's just so slick. One of the things I wanted to do with Sosi, because he doesn't have integrations with Mortgage Coach, is I really want to break down some of his workflow that any loan officer, whether you're an individual loan officer and you work for a company that doesn't have an enterprise edition of our product and you're not integrated, you can see some of the, what I call unintegrated workflows. And then see, so by the way, write down WX. There's a work experience of how people do things. And then there's a customer experience of how are they delivering value to consumers at scale. I interviewed Sosi for a full hour yesterday. I highly recommend y'all check it out. We'll put a link to that in chat. If you're watching this in our YouTube channel, there'll be a link down below where we really just talked about the presentations that Sosi's using with both buyers and realtors. And we really went into more details. Like we did probably five different customer stories, customer experiences in that. So Sosi, thank you for
Yes,
making
sir.
time to do this.
Yeah.
Remind everybody how you're doing right now. Like how much volume you're going to do? How'd you do last month? Let's just, anybody that didn't see
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. On track to do, on average right now, it'd probably be like a 83 mil for the year. If all we do is just keep the same of what's been going on. And then last month I did 12.4. And so it's been good, but with the people we're bringing on the team, with the different things we're doing, you know, there's, I'm hoping to be able to tell you that I finally breached the 100 million, because the last time I got super close.
You'll get there. And by the way, Wendy from United American, tell Al that we need to get an enterprise mortgage coach deal going on over there. We got Homeowners Financial Group. We've got another person from West Capital. I think that's your company,
Yeah.
Sosi, St.
Yep.
Louis.
Yep.
So
Brennan,
cool. We got a lot
good
of
dude.
companies, a lot of business models. Let's first of all talk about your philosophy on the customer experience that you want to deliver. Because I always think if we're going to win in this market, it's always about customer experience first. How, what are the ingredients of that borrower slash customer experience? And then let's talk about the work experience and maybe let's demo both. Like let's
Yeah.
describe your customer experience and then maybe demo it when it makes sense, and then we'll go to work experience.
Yeah. Customer experience. Okay. Let me actually pull up this other presentation that might be able to be really helpful for that. There's a training I did for our internal sales team where I kind of trained them on what our world looks like, what our, ideal loan process and different pieces. So I think this might be really helpful. Give me a quick second. I'm going to
Yeah,
share my
and
screen
guys, put
here.
questions in chat. We've got, almost 40 people live on this call. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be hundreds, maybe even 1,000 people that watch this video. Any questions you have while we're live, put them in here. And if you're watching the video on YouTube, questions and comments down below, give it a like. Let's go, Sosi.
Sweet. All right. So this is our structure that we train to, right? And these are also the promises we make realtors. And so any referral partner who's looking at being able to rely upon us in regards to growing their business, in regards to how can they trust what's going to happen when, which is super key. And I should just take a pause real quick. Guys, I got mentored by a real estate agent who did 368 real estate transactions a year, right? This guy was a monster. And what he taught me was if you're going to come into the space of being a loan officer to a realtor partner's business, realize that what you need to deliver for them is sustainability and scalability. Because he shared with me this illustration. He goes, too many people in the industry think they're successful business people, but they're just a mom and pop shop. There's no recipe written down, there's no franchise plan. As soon as they pass away, so does the restaurant. Real business owners have a recipe, have a plan, and have something they execute on time after time after time after time again. So being on that bedrock of wisdom that I got very early on in my career, and then seeing all the different high producing loan officers that I've been mentored and coached by, one common trait in between all of them has been a sustainable business model that they follow. Right. So, quote unquote, for us, our Bible is this: we do a first initial discovery call with the client. We do a consultation call with the client, which means for us, video. I know there's a lot of loan officers here who will never do a video phone call, and that's totally fine. I will never be in that camp. 99.9% of every client I ever speak with does a video consultation with me. Right. When I first was really growing in the success of my business and I really was getting to that next top 1% level, I was meeting in person with every single client. Clients were driving an hour to come meet with me. I didn't really like that. It didn't fit to my character, my inner being best. So I've really loved the video calls. So every client gets a video call with me. After that, we have a contract meeting, which is the which loan would you like meeting. That's once they get into escrow and all those pieces. Our operational team, approval process, CD review, doc signing, post closing, regular calls. But from a loan officer standpoint, it's discovery call, consultation, contract meeting, post closing call. Those are the four things that we are fully committed to on our end of making sure we deliver. So, with that being said, as far as process goes, today we're going to hyper focus on these two pieces: the introduction to our consultative path. So, the discovery
Hey,
call itself.
real quick.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I want to, well, first of all, finish this. Before you leave this, I want to give feedback on it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we're not going to really go a ton into the discovery call, except this. I remember I needed overflow as I was scaling too fast at one part of my career. And I had this loan officer who's a great loan officer, who's actually one of my mentors. And he's been in the business like 20 some years, right? And he jumped into my process and I said, I need help with this discovery call. And so he jumped on the call for me and he kind of took over just this part of the process. And then what we started realizing is that his style was combining these two. He tried like giving all the magic on the first phone call instead of separating it. For me, the first phone call is not magic. The first phone call is clerical, right? When I usually jump on a phone call with the client, Dave, I'd say, Dave, I'm so excited to connect with you. Paul has shared with me some great things. I don't know if you've ever done this process before, but I want to clarify what it looks like with us. This first phone call is like a nurse taking vitals. The next meeting, if we're ready, is going to be like the doctor prescription. We're going to go into all the different details. So on this first phone call, I'm going to get a very clear verbal understanding of what you're trying to accomplish and what your financial situation looks like, so that from there I can do my research as a good consultant to you and figure out what are the best 3 to 4 different options that I could put together, and then review those options with you again if we're ready on that second video call. If we're not ready, we'll just put a plan together at the end of this phone call to make sure you know how to become ready. How does that process sound like to you? Right? Like that's my intro call every single time. And within 45 seconds of a phone call with any new lead, I've already clarified for them if I've identified that they can't make a move yet, they're going to love me because I'm going to put a plan together for them. If I've identified they can make a move, don't ask me about rate yet. Don't do any of these pieces. We're going to get a meeting together and you've already given me the yes. Within 45 seconds, I get a yes from the client for that second meeting, which gives me the freedom to not feel like, at the very end, how I used to feel. I'd speak to somebody, I'd get them all in love with me. And then I'd be like, okay, great. So the next step is going to be to jump on a consult. And at that point, they were like, wait, I just gave you my social. I just, allowed you to know every exposure of my financial being. I don't know if I want to meet with you yet. Wait, who are you again? Like it just kind of felt like they were backed into a corner. And so now I already got their yes. So when we finished the convo, I'm like, sweet, what time do you want to meet? And it's a very natural process. So I'll take a pause there because that's what I wanted to share about this part. And today we're going to be focusing on the consult specifically with LoanSifter.
Yeah, and Tracy, yeah, this is being recorded. It'll be on our YouTube channel by, within a couple hours. So I want you guys, first of all, look at live experience. Like we are in the experience economy, and you need to be delivering a wow.
Shoot. Did that freeze for anybody else? Yeah. Okay. Frozen for me too.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back.
Okay,
Sorry
good.
about that. Uh, so wow experience. And then when you see discovery call, and I know Sosi does this, but if you're going to create your own graph on this, I would add the word assumptions, goals,
Mm,
desires, and assumptions. What is that consumer's assumption on what rates are going to do? Do they think they're going to go up or do they think they're going to go down? What is that borrower's or buyer's assumptions around values? Are they going to go up or are they going to go down? Because there's like if you're going to win in this AI economy, you need to know what AI and what Google doesn't know. And because you're local, because you're doing this discovery call, you're going to know their goals, you're going to know their desires, and you need to make sure you know their assumptions. So that when you
mm,
start putting together a strategy. We call them homeowner strategies. A total cost analysis is a type of homeowner strategy. You're delivering something unique and valuable. One of the things you'll hear me, I used the word uncommon loan officer with Sosi yesterday
I like
because
that.
he is an uncommon loan officer delivering an uncommon experience. And I can assure you, in this world of AI, in this world of technology, you need to be the uncommon loan officer.
Yeah.
So anyway, wanted to call that out. So keep it rolling, bro.
Love it. So once we've kind of set playing field, right? Like it's home field for us. Then at that point, we do our Zoom meeting. And so, for me, I have a software that I use that allows me to not have to do the sign in the app thing. So I use one called Dialpad. They'll click on a link and it goes straight to my video link. And this is where I'll give you guys a little bit of tip too. I'm a huge fan of hyperlinks, right? They cost 12 to 15 bucks a year. Buy them, right? Like for me, I have callsoci.com, I have applywithsoci.com, I have consultwithsoci.com. I have all these different quick, if I'm on the road and I need to text you how to meet me, here's my link, right? So all that to say, my first part of the experience is they come onto a video consult with me. Once we're in the video consult, we talk about two things. And I wasn't going to plan on going to this, but I think it's something good to touch on. Every time I talk about rates, I always give them a point of reference that's neutral from me. So whether you're using OB and their in how does it pronounce indices, their rate indices,
Optimal Blue Mortgage Market Index, which by the way is built into Mortgage
which
Coach.
is Mortgage Coach.
I've interviewed a lot of, there it is right there. Whether you're using that or you're using this, I've interviewed a lot of loan officers. Some people go to Rocket's website,
Yeah.
but have a third party reference where
Yep.
you're showing, again, you're showing an uncommon level of transparency. And
Yeah.
that's going to build trust. And now you're also getting context. Anyways,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and here's reality: they're going to shop you, or they're going to go research you, not shop you. And I feel like that word "they're going to shop you" has made a lot of LOs offended, and they stop listening. So I want to reset that, if you will. They are going to research information independent of you. So get in front of it and just go, yeah, here's a good place to research. Here's a third party piece. For me, I've liked showing the Mortgage News Daily because I can show it's a non biased news website that's not trying to sell your information. Here's the average rate. It doesn't show points, it doesn't show any of those other pieces, but it gives you a point of reference. So typically, I'll make sure that we kind of get some of the guards down by talking about what's
hey,
happening with rates. But
hey,
here's
so
my,
see,
sorry, go ahead.
one more thing. I want you to guys write down, be the guide, be the guide. I interviewed a guy recently that's using ChatGPT, and
Yep.
hey, what are interest rates right now in, you know, Lake
Yep.
Oswego, Oregon for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. So by the way, you should know the answers to these because consumers shopping, they are researching and they're using
Yep.
AI to research you. All right. Sorry.
Exactly. And this is where I would say why I like this one too is because it gives you the point of reference of what's next. To give somebody an answer doesn't mean you're educating them, right? And I want to be really clear on that. The psychology of how we consult, which is the word I use in replacement of sales because I really don't like doing sales, the strategy of how we consult is we consult through perspective. For me to give somebody a point of reference, hey, the average 30-year fixed rate right now is 6.61%. Sweet. I'm not educating them, I'm informing them. Educating them now takes it a step further. And so, Dave, as we look at the options, I want to make sure you're aware of something that's really, really important for me to clarify for you. And I think more so, it's just important for people to know, right? Because when most clients right now are seeing 6.61%, yeah, they do that face right there. They're like, oh my gosh, it's so high. But here's the thing I want to make sure it's really clear. When you look at the average 30-year fix, right? And this is going to actually show you the historical position of it. Just even when you look at the last few years, so many people are like, rates have not gone down. But here's the truth. Just under 2 years ago, we had average mortgage rates at 8%. Today, the mortgage rate has dropped to 6.61%. And there was a season where it's 6.22%. And the natural way that the markets tend to move is they peak, they go down, they go up, they go down, they go up. But if the overall trajectory is a decline, we can have a lot of confidence that decline is going to continue, even if it can continue like this, right? And why I think that's important is for this reality. At this moment here, when we hit 8% interest rates, Dave, you know what everyone was saying? They were saying rates are so high, home prices are going to drop. Because logically, right, increase in rates means less people qualify. So if there's less people qualify, there's less people to buy houses. Sellers are going to have to motivate buyers by dropping their price. But what happened that year in 2023? You know what happened? Year over year growth nationwide. Why? Because even though less people qualified, which was true, there were still too few houses for even the less amount of people. And so as rates have gone down, especially when we've seen big movements, 3 weeks later, every single time you see a drop in interest rates, open houses are packed. And the thing that people have been very confused on recently, Dave, which I would feel irresponsible as a consultant and an advisor if I didn't clarify this for you. The thing people have been very confused on is over the last 90 days, people have mistaken a softening of the marketplace as the equivalent of a drop. And here's the reality. What's happened is the market hasn't just shifted and now it's a buyer's market. That's not the case. There is still way more people who can qualify to buy. And every single decrease of interest rate, that number is growing. But there's a lot of discouraged people who don't have the point of reference. There's a lot of paralyzed people who are just exhausted and they're still scared because of what's been happening politically and economically over the last 12 months specifically. And so, that being the case, here's the reality. We already saw a proven moment where there was too few people or too few houses for the too few people, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. So, as we're projecting out a plan of what to do, what I just want to make sure aware of is if these rates keep going down, there is going to be a break to the dam, and all these buyers who have dammed up in demand, they're going to flood the streets. And so I want to make sure we make the right plans for you today where you either you have that clarity and you make decisions now in light of it, or we just keep waiting, but we at least make realistic numbers of what to prepare for so that when that flood does happen, you're not caught off guard and you're in the best place possible, right? That's the difference between showing somebody a point of reference that informs them and showing somebody an educational perspective that can now empower them to better moves. Dave, you want to add anything else to that before I jump into OB? All right. I think I saw
By the
you
way,
say,
so we know the steps that he's delivering at a high level. We understand the transparency. I would love to know if you are showing, rates,
yeah,
showing transparency. You're leading kind of the research game with buyers. Let me know what site you're using. Most often, it comes up in the interviews that I do, is the optimal blue average, index either in our product or you could go to it directly online. But if you are doing this, let me know in chat and then kind of show us the next step in your either the let's focus on customer experience and then we'll focus on what is your work experience. And Joe says he uses OB as well. So thanks, Joe.
love it. So next we do is I educate them there, and then from there I jump into Mortgage Coach and I just make it in front of them. I'm like, all right, Dave, from our first phone call, and I just create this over. I'm
Let's
looking
make
through. I'm
one.
gonna go,
Yeah, let's show you
yeah.
how you make one manually.
So I know
And
that
by the
you're
way,
looking
guys,
at
let's
buying.
let's time him. I'm gonna time him. Let's say he's been 30 seconds already, and I'm hitting the timer. Let's go.
Dave, so I know that on the phone call we identified you're looking at a $800,000 house and you're looking at about 20% down. So that's going to leave you at the 640 loan amount. We're looking at 30-year fixed rates. Let me do a couple things here to just make sure to put in the estimates. Don't worry, I'm going a little fast right
He's
now
got
just
templates
because.
already set up. He's pulling
Yeah.
templates in. Uh,
You can't time me and interrupt me at the same time, Dave.
I'm giving you, I'm a color guy. I'm giving color. I'm not interrupting you. And yes, I can
Now,
time you and interrupt you at the
I
same
get
time.
5 seconds back. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
So,
You're
I'm
at
I'm
30
going a little
seconds.
fast here, Dave, just because I want to set it up for you. So do know that I'm not going fast just so you can't see it. We're going to go into a very slow, detailed explanation of all this, or as slow as you want. But right now, I'm just setting it up for you so we can review it on the next slide. So
He said that before, in
800,000.
case anybody was wondering.
Well,
I'm
that's my
fun.
usual script.
I
You
know.
guys
Keep going.
literally heard it. So now I'm done. Like if I wanted to show, I could show you the presentation at this point, but I'm not done yet as far as how my client experience, my work experience is going. Now that I've set up the structure, I go, okay, so I kind of have it almost set. The thing I need to do is just make sure we shop all the different investors to find you the lowest rate. So with that being said, I'm going to show you a
By the
little
way,
bit of the
now
back
he's
end here.
going into work experience. He's going into his pricing engine LoanSifter. For all you guys that are watching that have Optimal Blue, or you have Mortgage Coach, you could either price this from Optimal Blue into Mortgage Coach, which is super slick, or you could go into Mortgage Coach and you could grab the price right now. And shout out to the LoanSifter team. We would love to have LoanSifter integrated into Mortgage Coach. Anyways, keep going.
So typically what I kind of script throughout it is I go, do know that what you're seeing is behind the curtain. So it kind of looks different compared to some of my other software, but it's because I want you to see on the back end what I'm seeing, right? I was a pastor and a missionary for 5 years internationally, and I used to have to barter for an apple. All my bartering bones are broken in my body. Like I love just showing people exactly where everything's at and just going from there. So at this point, I've put in all your details. As you see, every little thing can change interest rates. And that's why it's so important to have a very specific quote. And so I put in all your details and we're going to shop different investors. I'll hit submit. But before I hit submit, pause on scripting. Dave, so you're aware, some of the things that I use on LoanSifter here is I have different groups. As a broker, right? One of the realities is you can shop every single investor you have, but that doesn't mean it's going to be the best actual product for the client, right? Pricing and product are always the two pieces that we're trying to make sure to balance out for what the
Hey,
client's needs are.
Sosi, I want to make sure I'm clear and the audience is clear. This is not only your work experience, you're showing this to the customer right now. This is
Yep.
both customer experience and your work experience.
Yeah. So before I said pause script, everything I said in that point, literally from creating the mortgage coach to doing this is a equivalent of a live phone call I'd be having with a client.
Okay, I want to make sure everybody's clear on that.
So now, just from a back end technicality standpoint, not what I'm telling the client, but with you guys to kind of share some cool things that LoanSifter has put in here. You can have different groups. So in the team I lead, we're called Dollars and Cents, SENSE, because our conviction is, helping people with money, helping make money for our families, but doing it in a sensible way that's actually going to benefit the families we serve in the long term impact. So with that being the case, the investors that we know work well, have fast turn times, we have a good relationship with, they're in this investor group. If I'm being rate shopped and I need to see who's out there fully, I can switch to all the ones we're approved with at the company and just kind of go back and forth. If I wanted to just do the ones that I'm non-Dell correspondent with, I can just do those. So overall, I just want to be clear on that so you guys are aware. When I hit submit, it's not just every single investor. It's going to be the ones that I know specifically we have the relationships with that we want to keep. So then we jump in here and we look through it and we choose whichever one is going to be. And I'm like, okay, cool. We're at a 6.625 interest rate. So at that point, I put 6.625 and we're golden. Now I'm all set. Then from there, what I typically do is I go, okay, Dave, so here's the reality as well. So any questions there before I continue to move on?
Yeah, and let's not get into details. Matt put a question in. I don't want to get into the nuance of pricing. If we have time for some of those questions at the end, that we will, because I also want to demo a workflow on my side. So just
Yeah.
keep going now.
So what I would do now to just kind of finish off before we kind of go through it all is going to be showing potential refi. So I would just be, Dave, one of the things I'm going to do is like I promised, I want to make sure whether you decide to make a move now or you decide to make a move later. And I know you've already shared oh, sorry. I know you've already shared that you are going to make a move, but as you go out there shopping, if something comes up where you're like, I just don't know anymore, I just want to make sure you have this point of reference to guide you in this next path of looking for the right home that you're going to have. So I'm going to show you what it would look like from a planning standpoint of what 12 months now could be. So 50K in 12 months. And then we are going to be here and then we'll go right into it. 5.99, 850K. And then we're going to look at total cost analysis. I want to show you what this is also going to look like 5 years from now from a net worth standpoint. Okay, perfect. All right. So let's jump straight into your presentation, Dave, and go through it together. I'm going to put today's date to be compliant with the quote as we just ran rates live. And here we go. So just made this personal website for you. One of the cool things you'll see pop up is going to be an AI tool that we're doing an alpha test with. So I love the software. A
By the
buddy of
way,
mine
it's
is
not
actually,
in alpha anymore, guys. Everybody
oh,
should have this, whether you're an individual user, an enterprise user. There's a couple lenders that haven't turned it on yet, but we're 3 weeks into this. We've got over 4,000 loan officers using it weekly. We have over 800 1,800 questions and answers getting handled for consumers. So, like, this is 3 weeks in the live market, and y'all should know about it.
yeah. Yeah, the biggest thing I would say here, right, is you'll see this AI tool pop up, and one of the cool things it's going to suggest questions. It's going to be a resource for you. This AI tool is one that I monitor as well. So when you ask it questions, it should just be able to answer any detailed questions you have of the report. But if there's something that it doesn't seem to be answering correctly or anything else like that, it'll also tag me in. And so if you ask questions, don't be surprised if I also just come in and give any further clarity that I see might be helpful. So for the sake of just going through the presentation though, you could just look, you click the box and then ask it again anything later. And here's your summary quote. So this is not the detail of every single dollar. We'll go into that momentarily. This is just going to be the big picture part of planning, right? And so when we look at current $800,000 a day, 6.625 interest rate, 49.97 a month, your cash to close is about $177,000 out of pocket. Again, we'll go into details what makes this up, the estimations, all the things, and all those pieces. But from a monthly payment standpoint, here's what we're looking at. From a planning standpoint, Dave, here's what I want to make sure is super clear. As you're out there shopping, let's say you find the house that you fell in love with. What the future planning of this is going to be equaling to is, let's say rates do go down to the 5.99 that's projected within the next 12 months. Here's what you just locked in. You locked in the ability to have an experience like you've never had before, right? As a renter, Dave, you, you've probably never had your landlord come up to you and go, Dave, you know what I'm going to do this next year? I'm going to drop your rental amount. No, that doesn't happen in the renter world. When you're having a mortgage and you have a mortgage advisor that actually manages your mortgage, I get to call you and share with you, Dave, rates have gone down. We're able to rewrite the loan, save you $200 a month, drop it. And because of what we do for our past clients, do this at a no cost refinance just for you. So 6 to 12 months from now, you could be seeing an over $250 price or monthly payment deduction and capturing those savings. In addition, if we don't find the house and we don't move forward, here's what I want you to prepare for. If prices drop, I'm sorry, if interest rates drop, let's say they go to 5.99 12 months from now, this same house you could be buying for 800,000 could be 850. It's not a super far-fetched estimation. But I just want to make sure you're prepared for that, because if this rate drops and you're a homeowner, you get a decline in payment. If the rate drops and you're not a homeowner yet, you have to compete and potentially have to be stuck with the same house that you could be now at 800 and then it drops to 47, stuck with the same house but now buying it for 850 at a payment of 5,028. So, I
So
would go through that with them.
I want to make sure everyone gets the strategery and the magic of what Sosi just did. Is we know that people are confused. Should I wait for rates to come down? What's going to happen? And so he is preemptively future casting. Hey, this is what it is now. He tells a story. It's real. It's logical. It's a very common thing that someone who's buying their first home, going from renting to owning would do. And then he's also, it's like he's playing two chess moves ahead, where he's not only showing the fact that, hey, you can lower this monthly payment, which you could not do in renting, it just goes up. When's the last time someone's rent went down? I mean, I don't even know if that's ever happened in the past 10 years. And then he's showing like, hey, if you wait and rates do come down, what do you think is going to happen with values? So I mean,
Yep.
he's addressing two different common objections right now at the point of sale. And then he's also said, hey, I'm your research guy. He's giving people options, and I'm your research guy to help you make an informed decision. So I mean, anyways, dude, this is next level customer experience, and then your work experience, even though it's not as integrated as it could be. And I do want to show the audience just what an integrated experience looks like. But it's
Yeah.
it's pretty, you do a great job of, navigating what you have.
Yeah, and the only other thing I'll kind of share on there is to kind of go back to LoanSifter. The cool thing that I would suggest to be aware of, right, is I do live calls with a lot of the clientele that I'm helping right now are not clientele who want to get pre-approved. A lot of the clientele I'm helping are clients who just have a lot of equity. We call it an equity analysis plan. They have a lot of equity, they have stable income, and they just don't know what to do. And Google and chat can't answer it for them. Like I have financial advisors, I have uh, finance professionals, I have so many people who are coming to me directly for their personal situation and their client situation, just going, what do we need to know? And I literally just, I don't know all the guidelines for everything, but it's so easy. I go to expanded, I go to non QM 12 months, I play with it. If we're going to look at a second mortgage, I go in here and I go, okay, cool. We're going to look at a second lien now. We're going to be searching a 30-year term. And instead of it being a HELOC, it's just going to be a fixed HE loan. And then we're going to go to expanded guidelines again and do another 12 months to see what bank statement HE loan we can do, right? Like it has been such a cool tool to play with because it allows me to just do advice, right? Like people are coming right now with a need of information and education. And this has been a really cool tool to get it very quickly. And so I'm really grateful for it. It's been really, really neat. And I use it when I was a direct lender as well on the OB side. So it's been really cool to be able to use it.
So let me show a couple work experiences and then be ready to come back, Sosi, and do
That's
some
it.
sales training. So the first workflow experience that I want to go through is just, if, for those of you that have Optimal Blue, if you are not using this integration, you are just completely missing out. And I do hope at some point we have the same integration in Encompass. And like when I interviewed Denise Donahue, she kind of does what you do. She shows the rates, and then she shows the consumer options, and she actually shows her workflow experience with Optimal Blue. But then you can pick the loans and click the button, and now it just created that mortgage coach report. So this is a next level work experience
Love
for
it.
all of you that have Optimal Blue. You have this today. For those of you who don't, tell your manager you want it, and also let the team know that you want that loan sifter experience. Now, this is, I'm going to go into live product. You still see in my screen, Sosi? Sosi, you see in my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. For Encompass and Optimal Blue, you could just go like this. Like I can go to live presentation. And let me change that. I could go to import. I can pick Encompass. If that loan is in Encompass, go to the folder, whether it's a purchase or refi in, type in 3 digits, pick the loan that I want imported, and move that out of the way. Click OK. We just have a credit report that is now in Mortgage Coach. If I wanted to price that with Optimal Blue, I would just go to the product side of that, right? Oh, past the assumptions. There we go, product. And anyways, Optimal Blue would be in here. Like literally when I go to that first product, click Optimal Blue, go to the next screen. And again, this is something that at some point we hope to have, this functionality with really any pricing engine. Pick a specific loan. By the way, we've now priced this loan, and now we could go into presentation and literally this is a, fully priced uh, total cost analysis. So just know that is something that for anyone that's watching this call that already has those integrations, you should know about that. One last workflow that everybody on this call that is a mortgage coach, you're going to have this pretty soon, including you, Sosi. We're rolling out the Mortgage Coach Next Gen mobile app. Let me show you how you could create a TCA in less than a minute from a mobile device. I'm going to have one of our trainers do this. This is actually a recording of when we released it. And Sosi, by the way, I do think you have the alpha test of this. So I don't know if you've actually done this experience, but
Excited to
let
see
me
it.
show you. This is non-integrated with the new Mortgage Coach Next Gen app. This is what the workflow looks like in less than a minute to create a TCA.
All right, start the timer and let's get ready to go. All right. Importing a contact. And we're going to do some different purchase prices here to show someone who might be shopping and wanted to put 20% down. I'll throw in some closing costs. We'll go do an estimate of our monthly costs here. And then we're going to go add a second purchase price option. I'll redo the down payment. Everything copied over. And look at that. Done. We just did a TCA in 44 seconds for my buddy Justin here, who wanted to go look at a couple different purchase price options.
What do you think of that? By the way, Sosi, had you seen that or have you used that yet as an alpha tester?
No, I didn't know that there was a new app. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that is coming out for our enterprise partners. That will not be out right away for all the individual users, but Sosi, you're an enterprise partner, so I'll make sure the team knows about that
Yeah,
and
please.
make sure that you know you have it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
All right, so what questions do we have, by the way, folks? Like, let's see. I would like to sign up for Mortgage Coach. So, by the way, Daniel, I'll write that down, but if you could go to the website, well, we'll shoot you an email with a link to get signed up and also resources. So, Daniel, it's going to be good to have you on the team. Paul, if you could confirm that we got Paul's information or Daniel's information there. Any other questions, guys? Um, Sosi, do you see any questions here? What do you guys
Yeah,
think
just
about
saw
that,
some
by the
pop
way?
up. How would you use Mortgage Coach to talk to new agents in the market? Great question, Ephraim. I mean, literally doing what I just did, right, has always been the value proposition for us to realtors. You always have one of two value propositions, right? When you need to fund a loan or pre-approve a file or get a file, turn around very quickly, I can do that for you. That's the majority of value propositions in the industry. The second is when you speak to clients who not just need to get pre-approved, but they need to become motivated, educated, and inspired in such a way to actually see their actions follow through in the way you want to go buy a house, to buy it without hesitation, to buy it with confidence. You need me. And this is what we do together, right? And you show them that you have a process that sets them up to be informed and educated in such a way that creates a very excited buyer. And so as far as like what do I do with agents, literally that, hey, here's a mortgage coach I made for a cost of waiting. Here's what I'm telling the clients. Here's a conversation I'm having. Do you think this would be helpful for you? I'd love to make one for you at the price point that fits the common conversations you're having with your sphere of influence. Oh, you wanted $1 million too? Cool. I'm going to put that in. Is it also helpful if I show the 2-1 buy down? So I'm gonna make a 2-1 buy down scenario. I'm gonna make the current scenario. I'm gonna make the refi scenario, and I'm gonna make the future one scenario. So at least you'll have this summary page to be able to speak with. Would that be helpful for you? Right? That's the kind of stuff that once you show realtors that you are the converting machine, not just a pre-approving machine, it's a very different relationship, and that's what they really need.
Yeah, and I'm going to play a quick clip from an interview I did last year. This is Shay Jenkins in Denver, Colorado. And this speaks to the question of how is Mortgage Coach helping with realtors? And Sosi, maybe if you can share your
Yeah.
version of what Shay's going to share here in a minute.
I was going after this one of the top agents in Denver. And I had been trying since I was an assistant, I had been trying to get this person. And finally, the poor girl gave me a break and was like, Lord, like, here you go, take this one lead. And I took the lead and I did a mortgage coach. And I was just like, you know what, why not? I'm going to CC the agent on here. And then that's when the agent picked up the call and she's like, are you serious? This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I'm like, what, mortgage coach? And I was like, you're the top agent. You've never seen this before? And she's like, absolutely not. She's like, this is amazing. She's like, would you be able to do this with all my buyers? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, that's so cool. And again, in her head, I think she was thinking, I'm up all night creating this massive presentation with all these numbers and graphs. And I got her business and she's one of my top agents now.
So that's just another way that a lot of mortgage coaches use Mortgage Coach with agents. Sosi, any advice on how you position Mortgage Coach with agents or CC agents when you do it or don't do it?
Yeah. So we send out a pre-approval email with all the terms reinforced of like tax rates, all the things in a summary, so the realtor can use that as a point of reference for when they're making offers. And our mortgage coach is in there twice as our personal numbers website for the client. And then we also share with the agent, hey, if you ever need numbers reran, if you're out there shopping and you want to see what guide we created for them, because once a client's pre-approved for us, we change all the numbers, right? So like this presentation I just showed to educate my client Dave, what would happen then is once he's fully pre-approved, I would then show, okay, your max pre-approval is at 900. So the right options at 900, then 875, then 850, then 825. So you see every $25,000 payment difference. So with that being the case, this is your range. Now go find a house that you like enough to then get the offer accepted. And once the offer is accepted, we'll do the contract meeting and then solidify which loan you'll like. And so I tell the realtors, hey, I've given them a range. Anytime you see that they're confused on numbers, point back to it. And if you ever hear that they're wanting a little bit of updated numbers and different pieces, just send me a text. I can update it in our group chat and I'll just refer back to the link and they'll have everything rerun. So that's been a really cool piece as well.
And so think about it, by the way, guys, I got another strategy on agents, but think about you're an agent and God, what was the name? I think it was I'm forgetting who the loan officer was, but they called it their all-in-one TCA. And option one was, what did they ask for at pre-approval? So they
Yep.
applied for blank, boom. Option two was the maximum they qualify
Yep.
for. And
Yep.
then there were strategies like, oh, hey, here's an affordability strategy with a buy down. Or, based off that customer's issues, in Sosi's case, he might show the future refi. So, hey, here is your request, here is your max, and here's what a future refi. So be
Yep.
thinking, if you're a real estate agent, do you want to work with a loan officer that quotes rates and fees and closes loans on time? Or do you want to work with a mortgage advisor that does everything I just said, plus optimizes the purchase power, the
Yep.
confidence, and the clarity of that consumer? Who do you want to refer your business to? You want to
Yep.
refer a great loan officer that optimizes confidence and clarity and gets that consumer super fired up. So, anyways, that was a good little track. So you see anything else people are asking
Yeah, I
that we
see one more question. I see, Matt, good question. I have agents that just
got
don't
two
care what
minutes,
I'm
guys? We
showing.
gotta we gotta end this in 2 minutes.
Love it. I
Go
have
ahead.
agents that just don't care what I'm showing the clients. They think of lenders like buttons they can push. How can I position myself more than a button? Um, the reality is you set up what you get, right? Or you get what you set up. So what I would say is when you're speaking with these realtors, if you feel that the relationship's valuable and you know that the relationship is going to be button style relationship, ask yourself, do you really want to sign up for that? There's some that will never change. There's others who will change once they know they need to. So what I've done when I've had those relationships is I've gone the relationship and the trust by being the button guy. Then from there, you really start digging into the rest of their business. You know, what are you doing with your past clients? Do you manage the real estate portfolio of your clients once the loan is closed? Have you ever thought about, and if you guys watched my training from yesterday, pitch the real estate, the equity class, pitch these other concepts that teach the realtors. Most realtors are very well-intended professionals, but they're just very little, that they have very low information on what a really good mortgage advisor could be, because they're only used to, you know, turn and burn loan officers. So learn how to show them some of the things that they didn't even know they can get from you, and see if that sparks it with them. If you've shown them perspective, you've shown them these things, and you've told them how it creates business growth with other referral partners and how it's converting people on the fence, you're creating more listings for agents, you're creating more buyers in escrow for agents at reasonable terms. You're doing more of these pieces, and they still go, I need the button guy. They're never going to change. You know, you have to ask yourself if that relationship is worth it. Most of my button relationships have transformed into, Sosi's going to put the best financial plan for you. He's going to run numbers like no one else does. You got to talk with them. If they hear anybody's on the fence, you got to talk to Sosi. Sellers, buyers, investors, everybody. So that's been how I pivoted it.
All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Sosi's got to go get on a buyer consultation, meet with a realtor and a borrower. So thank you,
Yeah.
Sosi. You rock
Appreciate
it.
you, Brenda.
Let's give a big
Thank you,
hand.
guys. Appreciate
So
it.
first of all, this will be on YouTube later today. If you are not a mortgage coach and you want to become a mortgage coach, you can go to trustengine.com, sign up for an individual user license. If you are with a company that has an enterprise partnership with us, which there's over 170 companies that have an enterprise partnership, make sure you have all the integrations turned on. Whatever your tech stack is, most likely we integrate with your LOS, your POS, your pricing engine. You know, make sure you get this turned on. And then if you have integrations like that Encompass integration, make sure that the next 10 borrowers you help, you use that integration. It is, you know, the most modern experience, is the fastest and easiest way to do something that creates the most value and convenience for a consumer. And there is no question, Sosi showed it. Like, he showed you how you can create a mortgage coach report in just a couple minutes. This is the fastest, easiest way to deliver numbers, strategies, and options to consumers. Make sure you guys are learning how to do it. Appreciate everybody taking time to tune into this. If you are not following savageinsights.com, that's where whoever I'm interviewing next will be at the top. Like yesterday, I had Sosi. We did a full hour. He showed his actual presentation book for both borrowers and realtors. Make sure you check that out. And then also, let's hope we can get Optimal Blue to turn on this, or both of our companies, to create an integration with LoanSifter and all these other things. So take care, everybody. I hope you got value. Have an awesome day. This is a wrap.